most founders and high performers think improving their health requires more time and more sacrifice. So what I hear often is that people will say, well, I want to optimize my health, but I really don't have the time right now. I will do it when I have more free space in my work, or I will do it when I can sacrifice my social life a little bit. And over the past years of building my own business, creating content, training, and having a social life, I came across this concept which I never heard anyone talking about in the health space, called stacking. So a lot of people think, well, now that I start improving my health, I need all those different habits and I need to execute on them, and it kind of becomes a second job. And once you understand stacking, you understand that you really can use the Pareto principle and really get the most ROI on the time you spend on health. So let me give you an example how a lot of people approach, let's say, morning routine, right? So in the morning, you want to get outside, get sunlight. A lot of founders, they want to meditate. And then you also discovered the science of grounding, and you also understand that grounding is important. And so your morning routines kind of becomes a 2-hour routine, right? If you do all those habits separately. But what I realized for myself, I remember back in the days, I would spend 6 days a week in the gym doing strength training, like 2 hours per day. And at some point I realized, like, I don't want to do this. Like I just, like, every year I spend that much time in the gym. Yes, I can see it in my physique, but I just kind of wasting my life. I just work and exercise, and I don't have any time for social activities. I always have to say no. And over the years, I always kind of had the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule in the back of my mind. So, from training 6 days at the gym, I'm now down to just 3 days a week doing strength training, and my results are actually better. So I'm in better shape and better physique. I feel better. I have more energy. But the same principle applies to everything else. So let's jump straight in, and I'll explain how I do it and how I implement it. So for instance, during the morning, I would get outside, and first thing in the morning, within 30 to 60 minutes, I want to get the morning sunlight. And so what I do, I go outside, and in the morning, I also meditate. So I go outside, I find a bench facing east, and by now in Warsaw, I also know some places, some benches that aren't only facing east, but they also have grass underneath, right? So what I can do, I can actually combine 3 habits at once. So I can ground, I can meditate, and I can get the morning sunlight. And it all at once, it just takes me 20 minutes and I'm off the races. I can go and start my first deep work session afterwards. Or the same thing applies to doing zone 2 cardio. So, before I would do zone 2 cardio in the gym, on a bicycle, under blue light. But these days and then at some point I started doing cardio outdoors and would go outdoors and run. So, and now I'm stacking it even more. So for instance, today I will have my zone 2 cardio day, and what I'm going to do, I will go into a park, and I'm doing boxing. So I'm going to do into a park, and I have this track from my online trainer in boxing, and it's like a 45-minute shadow boxing track. So what I'm going to do, I'll just do shadow boxing for 45 minutes. It will bring me into zone 2, and I will also do it barefoot in the park. So we'll also get 45 minutes of grounding in, and I will also be doing it in the park, so under the trees. So we'll get the infrared light from the trees, from the leaves as well. So all those benefits I'm just getting from those 45 minutes in the park doing zone 2 cardio. And for example, same thing applies to strength training. I strength train 3 times per week, and before I would just do hypertrophy and strength, and then afterwards I would stretch. But now all the exercises I'm doing, they're at the same time building muscle, they're building strength, and they're improving my mobility. So I don't really have to invest the time into stretching, into passive stretching, because all those exercises improve actively the range of motion, and I get all those benefits at once from those 3 sessions. And I think once you internalize this concept of stacking, that you really don't have to separate these habits, you can really think about how can I do all those things I'm doing at the same time. I think it's really a game changer, and health stops becoming a second job. It really becomes something that makes your work your relationships better, right? So you have more energy, you're more focused, you have better mood, and you can just take the benefits, the health and energy you get, and then use this energy into creating more and, applying it to your art, to your business, and to your relationships. And so the bottom line is that high performers don't optimize habits separately. They design systems where one behavior solves multiple problems at once. If you want to go deeper on how I structure these systems, I created a free 5-day email course to building your energy from the mitochondria up. So check it out. The link is in the description down below, and see you in the next one.